Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Jonathan Togo. I play Ryan Wolf on CSI Miami, and I'm here at the SRT Training Center for Miami-Dade, where I'm going to meet the guys who are in the Special Response Team or the SWAT team. We're also going to do some other cool stuff. We're going to go to the labs where they actually analyze the DNA. We're going to talk to the men and women who help police Miami. You're going to get to go on a trip on a police boat and patrol the harbor. So this is our look at the real heroes, men and women of the Miami-Dade Police Department, the real CSI of Miami. So here we go. Okay, so we're here now in the lab with Captain Bill Press. Captain, what is your role here?
I'm the executive officer of the Crime Scene Bureau, CSI. This is our fingerprint identification area, and this is basically where we do luminol. We do prints here. We deal with dusting, and right over here is our super glue chamber. And we use that for identifying things that we can't see with the naked eye.
Can you show us over here what we're looking at?
Well, this particular chamber here, and all it is it's a chamber that we use to print certain things. As you see here, it says deceased because sometimes we have to deal with body parts and things like that and get fingerprints off of skin and or fingers or hands. And so we'll use this, and it's basically a fuming chamber so that the fumes go outside. We're dealing with a lot of different chemicals here as well as in the crime lab. And so basically that's what these fuming tanks are for.
Now, what do you think, what are the positive effects that the CSI shows have had, for instance, with your job and your life here?
Well, I can say, you know, it's been great for policing.
Yeah.
That's probably the greatest thing. I talk to people all over the country, and because of the interest that your show generates, I mean, not only are the CSIs getting a lot of inquiries, but the rest of policing are getting inquiries. Yeah. And we need the very best of people that we possibly can.
Now, what's the negative effect that you've seen that the shows have had on policing?
Well, people expect us to solve crimes within an hour. Now, that sometimes happens, especially with Miami-Dade, because we are trained professionals.
Absolutely.
But for the most part, when we're talking about homicide cases and things like that, even when we have subjects who end up confessing, and we have fingerprints, and we have DNA and all those kinds of things, somebody has to put that case together because eventually it's going to go to court. And when you're talking about court cases, that can be won or lost by a jury. Right. It can be won or lost by the evidence that you collected and the procedures you followed and things like that. So it's very, very important that people understand that difference. That sometimes, unfortunately, happens.
That's tough. That's what they call the CSI effect.
The CSI effect.
So one of the things I noticed about this room, Captain Press, is that it's loud. There's a lot of machines at work. There's a refrigerator you were saying over here, and it's buzzing and it's holding evidence? Is that what it's doing?
Exactly. Everything in here, every piece of equipment is necessary for our processing. We have a number of cases here just for this display. This case right here is a homicide case that has to be processed, and as you can see, everything's packaged and sealed because we're dealing with hazardous material.
It's very important that you follow the proper procedure with all this stuff. I know when we were shooting the show, they are insane about do not put your hands near your mouth, because I do this a lot. This is me acting interested. So I have a gloved hand, they go, it's cut, you can't touch the evidence, not your hands in your mouth. And the other thing is I'll oftentimes just go like this, and you can't touch anything unless you're wearing latex gloves. At least on the show, that's how we do it. Is that true in real life?
That is true to life. First of all, we would put a sheet of clean paper down here. All these cases would move out of here. We would process each piece of equipment or each piece of evidence individually. This is merely for display purposes here because it's actually showing you some of the cases that we actually are going to be working sometime today.
Okay, so you receive the evidence here in your lab like this, in this bag, and it's sealed.
Well, let me explain this. This is what our CSI Miami crime scene investigators do. Not only do they detect the evidence, they also have to preserve the evidence, package the evidence, and that packaging is what you see right here before you.
Also, I know on the show the writers take great care to make sure that the chain of custody is always being really well observed, and I know that the technical advisors or the people we have working on the show who are former crime scene investigators and law enforcement officers are really, that's something they really want to maintain is that authenticity of chain of custody. Can you talk to us about what that
Clearly, one of the most important things that you're dealing with evidence is chain of custody. We have to account for every movement of that piece of evidence. It has to be unsealed, resealed, depending on where it's going. Because again, that's the integrity of the case. Right. We have one shot on a crime scene to try and identify that. We have one shot at obtaining that evidence and packaging that evidence, and then for that to be thrown out because there wasn't a direct or proper chain of custody, I should say, would be an effort in futility. We'd lose the cases. You have to maintain that evidence from the time we get it to the very time it stays in the property room, and in some cases, we're dealing with homicide cases that will stay 100 years. Well, here, for example, we have in here, and I don't want to go into the case much, but we're dealing with some biological, with some blood evidence on there and stuff, and we're dealing with an actual case of a homicide. So this will be taken upstairs to biology, and they'll do processing there and get a DNA match, hopefully, on that. Whether, what the particulars are, I can't go into it.
Well, Captain Press, thank you so much for protecting us here in the city of Miami and for your job well done. 34 years on the job. You said 2 more years to go, right?
2 more years to go. I'll be retiring with 36.
Congratulations. Thank you so much for having us.
And thank you for not only you, but the entire CSI Miami series.
Hi, everybody. This is Adriana Cristalli, and she's not being rude right now by not saying hello to me. She actually cannot speak or talk while she's working with these test tubes. So we're going to give her a second because she doesn't want to get any of her biological fluid from her mouth into the evidence, and it would taint the evidence. And
that's correct.
But here she is now.
Ready.
Straight from the crime lab. Adriana Cristalli, thank you for being here, and thank you for talking to us today. And do you want to tell us what you do and who you are? And
I am a DNA analyst with the Miami-Dade Police Crime Lab.
Okay.
I've been working here for 10 years, doing the same DNA for 10 years.
That's awesome. What is your favorite part about working here?
There's never a dull moment.
Yeah.
Every case that you get is different.
Yeah.
So I never know what I'm going to get in the morning.
Right.
I'm going to have receipts there. I don't know what cases are assigned to me. But I know for sure I have never seen it before.
We also always do our DNA work in a montage. They cut it together, and it's lit like a Jamba Juice, and they play techno music, but I don't hear any techno music.
Oh, you could.
You could. Yes, so that actually could happen.
Oh, I blast music, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you spend all your time here in the lab, or do you ever go onto the crime scene?
No, I don't go out to the crime scene. We don't do everything. I understand that that's part of the show, that you get to go to the crime scene and you catch the bad guy and you do everything. Each discipline...
I also wear sweater vests and very tight-fitting blazers on the show.
Interesting.
Which I've yet to see here at the Miami Crime Lab.
Yeah, no. So each discipline is pretty complex.
Right.
And they require their own education and your own training. So all I do is DNA in the crime lab. They bring me the evidence.
Okay.
I do my work, and I'm perfectly fine with calling the detective and saying, "This is the bad guy. Go get him." I'm not gonna go and get him.
But you never go and get him.
No, never. I don't even want to see them until we're in court.
That's right. But you do testify.
Yes. The other thing that we do, basically, we work here all the time until we get called into court, depositions. That we do. But it doesn't happen very often because. DNA, once you have DNA, it's pretty good. So they take a lot of pleas. Yeah. So we don't usually go to court too much.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It's a real pleasure, and we've learned a lot here. And it's really like such an eye-opener and an honor to be here where you guys work and see what you guys do. And you guys are doing really wonderful things. So I appreciate it. And on behalf of CSI Miami, I want to say thank you very much for all your hard work.
All right, thank you.
Protecting the people of Miami. Now you can go back to work, and I may steal that jacket, you know.
But it's gonna say Adriana Cristalli.
I don't care. I like that name.
Forensic art can be any type of art that eventually will be used in a courtroom. For example, a composite drawing from a case that might eventually be used in court to help identify a subject, or a facial reconstruction that might help identify a victim, might be used later on in court in order to establish, that's how they came about discovering the victim's identity. When we're doing a composite drawing, we'll conduct what's called a cognitive interview, which is an interview technique that's more putting everything in the hands of the victim, for them to set the pace and them to kind of explain to us what they saw and what happened. And we ask them open-ended questions. For example, we would never say to somebody, was the subject black or white? Or, is he in his 20s? Instead, we'd say, can you describe the person for me? And if they start with describing the person's clothing or something that might seem irrelevant, we let them speak at their own pace and tell us what comes to mind, because different people recall things differently, and if you interrupt that process, you might hamper it. So we'll have them go through their own explanation of what happened and everything they can remember about the person. Well, we do facial reconstructions from human remains, and what will happen is usually if a detective has an unidentified body and they've not been able to make an identification based on either dental records or fingerprints, and the person is decomposing or primarily skeletonized, then we'll be asked to do a facial reconstruction or a facial approximation of what the person would have looked like in life. So the way that works is we get an anthropologist report, and they'll tell us the person's race, gender, approximate age, body weight, and then we'll go ahead and create an approximate likeness of how they looked. It's amazing. It's amazing in any case to be able to see something that a person's describing to you in their own words come to life, and then of course to have the realization of that leading to an identification and getting somebody off the streets that clearly is a violent offender. I mean, it's priceless.
My job entails examining any evidence countywide that is related to firearms and shootings and firearms evidence. That would be bullets, casings, live cartridges, firearms in general from any types, whether they be a large rifle or even a smaller pistol. My job is to determine if a particular casing or projectile was fired from one of these weapons. Firearms is really a subset of a general category. It's called tool marks. And really tool marks is we're looking at a harder object leaving an impression or a striated mark in a softer object. So we can think about when we walk in sand at the beach. You can see your footprints, you can see your shoe prints. So that's why it's related, because when we fire a casing in a gun or a cartridge in a gun, the casing that remains has an impression of the marks that are in that gun. So it slams into the gun and it leaves that impression. Let me show you what a casing looks like and what the components are of a live cartridge. This is a live cartridge, and this is what would be in a firearm if nothing had been fired. But once this is fired, it's going to get broken down into its components. One component is the gunpowder. This is going to burn and possibly shoot out the gun and adhere to the clothing of the victim, whoever gets fired at. The other piece of evidence is the actual casing. This actual casing inside the gun is going to slam into the gun and is going to leave a mark right here on what we call the primer of the casing. And this mark is one of the marks that we're going to compare back to the gun under our forensic comparison microscope. The other thing that's going to come out is the actual bullet. And obviously this is going to exit the muzzle of the firearm, and this is when it's going to strike the target. And this will either be found at the scene or recovered from the victim at the time of the autopsy. The best part of my job is getting the results back, hearing back that what we did actually made a difference.
I'm a police officer, first of all. I'm a detective in the Crime Scene Investigations Bureau. That's where we, just like on TV, you see the crime scene, that's what we do there, crime scene investigations. When we arrive at the crime scene, the first thing I want to do is get an assessment of the scene itself. I want to get some basic information from the detectives in charge, the first responding officer, whomever, and then I'll make a survey of the scene. I'll do a walkthrough, or at least have a look at what there is involved in the scene. One of the things we'll be looking for are tire tracks or footwear. This could be one of the most important aspects of evidence and one of the most overlooked. So you've got the first responders, you've got fire rescue coming there before you for life safety, and they're going to be driving right over the footwear or the tire tracks without even knowing it. This is my fingerprint kit. This has a couple of different types of powder. It's got my latent fingerprint brush here. It's got a magnetic brush and some other types of brushes for different ways of processing fingerprints. My latent tape, just basic Scotch tape that comes in a different format. And this is probably one of my most used items also, along with the camera. Once I develop a fingerprint with the powder, I'll take a picture of it. I'll get the tape, spread it over top of the fingerprint, and pull it off. Once I've pulled it off the surface, I can put it onto a fingerprint card, and it will hold the tape, and you'll be able to see the fingerprint. This is a basic DNA kit that my department uses. Comes with a few items inside. It's got the swabs, a sterile liquid. It's a water-based or saline to make the swabs wet if I need to. I'll snap off the ends and place them in this box. I'll fold it up so that the swabs do not contact the surfaces inside the box. That prevents contamination that way. DNA is another very important aspect of a crime scene. It can be blood evidence. It can be serological evidence other than blood, something that you probably won't even see on the scene, and you would still have to try to find it. This goes along with the DNA evidence. This is a black light used to locate DNA evidence, serological evidence, body fluids. I activate this light, I pass it over the surface, and the biological evidence will luminesce. I use it for bed sheets or carpeting where biological evidence may be found. This is for tracing bullets. I have a kit with all different types of string. I can run the string from one bullet hole to another to show the trajectory of the bullet. Also behind me, I'll have this arrangement with a tripod. These are dowel rods and a laser. I initiate this laser to point where the bullets may have traveled to, or I can use it to line up with bullet holes. I have a couple of dials inside that I use to show the trajectory of the bullet, to measure the angle, and I can use the laser to pinpoint other bullet holes, bullet through the door. I can put it in the door itself and move the door open until it points to where there's another bullet hole corresponding to it in a wall. I've used it like that on several occasions. It works very well.
My name's Sergeant Friels. I work for the Miami-Dade Police Department. Miami-Dade Police Department's Marine Patrol Unit is responsible for enforcing the boating laws in Dade County, Florida, fishing violations, assisting other agencies, conducting search and rescue operations. We have a lot of Marine partners that we work with, United States Customs, the United States Coast Guard. We do a lot of search and rescue operations. Very busy, especially during the summertime and holiday. If the weather is good, an average weekend is very busy. Miami-Dade County has beautiful coastal waters, a lot of boats, a lot of boating accidents, a lot of people operating boats, vessels, jet skis. They're unfamiliar with them. They're unfamiliar with the waterways down here, and it can just be very, very hectic, very busy. A lot of times, too, even if the weather is not good, you have certain individuals that they don't even pay attention to the weather, and they'll take a boat out in terrible weather conditions, and sometimes those are very busy days for us also, conducting search and rescue operations and vessels in distress, different situations like that, they arise all the time. On any given day, you have no idea what could possibly happen. Every day is a new day and a surprise and an exciting event.
Hey everybody, it's Jonathan Togo from CSI Miami still. And I'm here with the commander of the Miami-Dade SRT Special Response Team, Lieutenant Jim Teets. How you doing?
Hi,
thanks,
Jonathan.
Thanks for having us.
Well, glad you're here.
If you could just tell us, first of all, for everybody at home, what is this SRT? What does it function within the umbrella of Miami-Dade Police Department?
Well, like you said, SRT stands for the Special Response Team, and basically we are the SWAT team. That's what most people refer to us as, a SWAT team. We just call it something different.
Okay, cool. And what sort of duties do you guys have within the Miami-Dade Police Department?
Well, In a nutshell, anything that the regular cops can't handle, they call us for. Anything that's high risk, for instance, a hostage rescue scenario, a barricaded subject with a gun, high-risk warrants, those types of situations.
Okay, Lieutenant, part of the reason we're here today is we want to film you guys training. When I've seen you guys work on set, it's incredible how you move as a group. You're like one serpentine unit. You're like a phalanx of people, and it's highly choreographed, and it's amazing. It's like a ballet, but with guns that can, kill you. But
like I said, it's a thinking man's game.
It really is a thinking man's game. So we're going to film a lot of the training today because I want people to show everyone at home how intense it is and how beautiful it is and how cool it is. Do you want to tell us what kind of training you guys are going to show us?
I thought we might move into putting you on the line with the rest of my team.
All right, cool.
And then perhaps finish it up with some room entries.
All right, cool. All right, well, that'll be fun to do and fun to see and definitely informative.
I'm sure you'll do well.
Oh, thanks. So we are here right now at the firing range for Miami-Dade SRT, that's a special response team, and we are lucky enough to be joined by Sergeant Ray Malcon, who is going to show us a little thing or two about firing a rifle. First of all, what kind of rifle is this?
Okay, it's like a military version of an M16, so it has a full auto capability as well. However, it's got additional electronic sighting systems, so when we have to use gas mask or we have to use in low light environments, has night vision capability with a supplemental scope and things of that nature. And the configuration you see it here, it looks all cool, bells and whistles. Basically, it's just a painted, short-barreled M16. What I'm going to cover with John today is just basic familiarization with the weapon, and we'll see if maybe we go through some live fire drills.
Okay, cool.
Good?
Yeah.
Again, just like we're going to go with the most important things, where the safety issues. First thing, we want to make sure magazine's empty. There's nothing in the magazine chamber, and there's nothing down in the chamber.
Right.
Okay, we're good there.
Yep.
Also, the next important thing, besides your trigger finger, is make sure that the weapon's on safe before we do anything live fire. So, and this has 3 configurations. You have semi, which is 1 shot every time, or all the way back, which is going to be full auto. So as long as you depress on the trigger and you have ammunition, it's going to shoot fully automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, it's got about 800 rounds per minute coming out of this weapon. So make sure you go back on safe. As far as the bells and whistles are concerned, we have a throw mount. This is a high-intensity LED light that also has these little supplemental lights, so when we depress right in the back, it'll actually light up. So when we go through narrow hallways, stairwells, or through a wooded area and we don't want to give away position, it just looks like a little key light.
Oh, wow.
Or we have the high-intensity light that goes out about 100 yards.
So thanks, Sergeant Ray.
All right, great. Thank you.
Next step is we actually fire one of these.
We're going to hook you up here.
All right.
So we're going to cover shooting. Like I had started to mention to you, the best shooting posture is basically just like an athletic posture, knees bent over, your head slightly over the front of your knees, so you got a little forward cant to it.
Okay.
So go ahead and get in that position, point the weapon down range. Okay, we're just going to go through those posturing movements. Very good. Very good. And you're going to be lining up your eyes right through that hollow sight, both eyes open, centering it right here in the center mass of the target. Okay? So you always want to try to bring the weapon up to your eyes, not your head down to the gun.
Okay.
There you go. Perfect. Go ahead and I'm going to lock it back for you.
Okay.
Till you hear a firm click. There you go. Now go ahead and go through those. Let it go. And you're charged up. Okay? You're on safe now. Go ahead and go to semi, and I want 2 rounds body, 2 rounds head on my command.
All right.
Stand by. Body. Head. Body. Head. Body. Head. Okay. Don't rush it. Go ahead and take your time. Go ahead and right at the belly button.
Okay.
Right in there. Take 2 controlled shots there. Okay, and to the head. So now you go ahead and function the safety into the full auto. Okay, good. Good shooting platform. Go ahead and lean forward. Should lean forward. I'll support you here in the back. Go ahead and pull the trigger and hold it down.
Alpha.
So alpha, I would come and support.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Sergeant Ray. Hey, this is like my bar mitzvah. Thanks for making me a man today.
All right, you've earned the shirt.
I've earned the shirt. I'm keeping the shirt. Thanks, everybody. Sergeant Ray, everyone. Well, there you go, guys. There you have it. The real men and women of the Miami-Dade Police Department. They are really, truly heroes and very special, and I feel very lucky to portray them on television. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this DVD featurette, and we'll see you again season 6. Thanks. Bye.